there, I'm Angela. Welcome to the channel or welcome back. And today I have a pattern review to share with you guys. If that sounds interesting, stay tuned. Hey all, welcome in. And today I'm going to be sharing a pattern review of Vogue V9246 just for the long pants view E. And if you've been hanging out on my channel for the past month, you probably know all you care to know about these pants. Feel free to just scroll past this one. I don't mind at all. But if you came here just because you're searching out reviews on this pattern, maybe you'll find this helpful. Either way, no matter the case, I'm glad that you're here and I hope that you'll enjoy the video. So let's jump in. So this is one of Vogue's kind of career or wardrobe type patterns, as I call them, that are kind of like an all-in-one. And it's actually Vogue 5 Easy Pieces. And like I mentioned, I just did the long pants view E. So I'll talk a little bit about the pattern itself, and then we'll jump into the experience that I had, and then I'll put like a picture of me wearing the pants in case you missed that on the last two videos. Or if you're like, enough is enough, understood. So this pattern was published in 2017, and sometimes patterns that were published, 6 years ago still are in print. I bought this in 2020. I think I bought it new in 2020, and I kind of thought that it was still available because it looks, fairly modern, but it looks like it's not still in print, at least on the Something Delightful website, at least as far as I could find. Maybe it is and I couldn't find it, but it is very readily available on eBay and Etsy, so you shouldn't have any trouble getting your hands on this pattern if you decide you want to make it. So let's talk about fabrics. So the suggested fabrics are linen blends, crepeback satin, lightweight gabardine, and Ponte knit. I did use a Ponte knit, which if you have seen my previous few videos, you know how much I love this fabric. Got it from stylishfabric.com. I'll put a link to them below in case you're interested. And it worked out pretty wonderfully. It was actually a pretty heavy Ponte, but it did really nice for these pants. And we'll get into the adjustments that I made later. But if you can see, the pants really are a shorter length, meant to come like above the ankle. I don't care for that length on myself, so I lengthened them. So the longer way that I made them plus the heavy Ponte means that these are going to be a fall pant or winter pant for me. They'll be a little bit too much for the hot weather. So as far as notions that were required for the pants, it only calls for 3/4 yard of 1-inch elastic. I did have to go out and get elastic kind of late in the game. I thought that I had enough 1 inch, but I didn't, so I had to get that and have some left over, so that's perfectly fine. I'll use it sometime later, but that was the only notion. And regarding size range, it does come in extra small, small, medium. I have the version that's large, extra large, and double extra large. I cut the XL. I'll talk a little bit more about that later as far as adjustments that I had to make. Regarding instructions, whether they were easy to follow or not, I did not find that they were the easiest to follow. I mean, it was manageable and doable, of course, but there were some parts that were not as clear, and the illustrations did not seem to help that much for me, at least. So I ended up just kind of muddling my way through it, and I got it done, but especially around the waistband. And the way that it is, it doesn't really show it on the illustrations, but so on the front of the pants, there's 2 darts and then a waistband piece, and then in the back, it's elastic. So I love wearing that style of pants. However, making it, at least until I get this trick mastered on how to, like, they join at the waist, it's just going to be like a little bit of a messy process for me. When I posted my like Sew With Me series on this, I did have a viewer provide a link to a video that goes into detail on how to do that kind of a waistband. So I was very thankful for that. And I think that'll come in handy the next time I make either these pants or something similar to that. So the instructions were not the greatest. Of course, it's Vogue, and sometimes I do find that the instructions aren't always the greatest, or there's a lot of like assumed knowledge that the sewist has sometimes with Vogue patterns, and oftentimes that could be the case. Or maybe if you're more on the beginner side or beginner intermediate or even intermediate, you might not have done all the techniques called for. So relying on the instructions can be crucial. So I did find that just a bit lacking. Not a deal breaker, but now I've done them once, it'll be much better the next time. So regarding adjustments that I made, I did do my normal crotch seam adjustment. And because the pants are a little shorter than I like, I took my inseam measurement, and based on that, I wanted these pants to kind of hit just above floor length, depending on the shoes that I'd be wearing with them. So I added 6 inches on, and I was worried that might be a little too much, but I could always like chop off some if it was. And it did turn out that I ended up having to cut 1.5 inches off the length of the leg. So it was fine. I ended up with a length that's perfect for me. I am 5'6", and my measurements are in the description box below. And while I'm only 5'6", I feel like my legs are longer in proportion to, like, I have a shorter waist and a longer leg ratio, if that makes sense. So I always have to take that into consideration when making adjustments. And then getting back to size, when I mentioned I cut an extra large a few minutes ago, that was based on the measurements on the pattern envelope and also on the measurements on the pattern piece that would best suit my own body measurements. And even still, I ended up having to take 2 inches off each side, like down the side seams of the leg, waist and leg. So I thought that was kind of excessive. That's pretty like extra large, overly large, I guess you would say, given the measurements. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And even though I took 2 inches off each side, they're still a little bit roomy. I could stand to take in probably another 1/2 inch to 1 inch on each side if I wanted them to be a little more form fitting. I mean, they're meant to be a little bit, looser. And also, I did not show you guys the line drawing, so I'm going to put that up there right now. So that's something I'll take in mind if I make these again. I might take in a little more than I did this time to get a closer fit, at least, through the waist and torso area, leaving the legs a little bit roomy. So just something to be aware of. And it's worth noting that there are no pockets in these pants, no back pockets, none like side front pockets, no inseam pockets, none at all. So that's another thing that I would change if I make these again. I would probably add like welt pockets onto the back, just some place to put my phone. I think that the front looks really nice with the darts, and so I don't know if I'd want to like mess that up with adding pockets to the front, but definitely some back pockets would not be out of place on these pants. And overall, do I like them? Yeah, I pretty much do. Even though they kind of gave me a little headache during the making process, I really do like them. I know that I'll wear them a lot this fall just because the color that I made them in, it's kind of similar to this shirt that I'm wearing now. It's like a chocolatey brown color. It's perfect for fall, and the heaviness, like I mentioned, of the Ponte is also perfect for fall and winter. Would I make them again? I think that I probably would, especially now I've gotten all the tweaks made. I think that it'll be a much smoother process next time. So I probably would make them again, and maybe I actually will make them again, depending on like, time constraints. And there's so many other patterns that I'd love to make rather than like, I don't love these enough that they might become a tried and true. Let's just say that. But I do like them enough to maybe make them one more time. And would I change anything if I made them again? As I mentioned, I would add pockets and also probably take in a little more on the side seams. What I would probably do if I make these again is bump down a size, cut the large, and see how that works. Maybe measure the pattern pieces and not rely on what the printed measurements are on the piece, like actually measure the pieces. I've done that before, and I find that I guess that's really the only way to know for sure rather than relying on something that the manufacturer says. So that's about it. I hope that I covered everything. Before I leave, I'm going to stick in a couple of just still pictures of me wearing the pants just so you can see how they turned out. And I hope you found this helpful. If you decide to make these and that you have questions that I didn't cover in this video, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll do my very best to answer and help out however I can. So thanks so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you'll tune back in for the next video, which will be Friday Sews coming up this weekend, in which I will talk about a little about my next project, which, spoiler, was going to be the jacket of this pattern. And I think that's changed. I still am going to make the jacket as part of my capsule wardrobe, but I'm kind of like getting a little tired of capsule this, capsule that. So I'm going to take a little detour and make something for the summer. Tune in this Friday and I will show you what that is. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you then. Bye.